Well, hey there, folks. It's Pops, and I wasn't going to go live. I was going to just make a video, and this this got a little close to home rather quickly. So, listen, this morning I had an interesting story that come up in the comic book world. A absolute legend got canceled and attacked by the social justice warriors, got kicked out of a convention, basically. And I just want to tell you this story because as I prepared for this, I discovered that this person blocked me. So I'm blocked on Twitter. So it didn't take me long, folks, to get kicked out of a club. So, all right, I'm Pops, and this is Pops on Pop Culture. And let me get right to this story. This article that I put up this morning on Tampa Dispatch. The comic book creator Frank Miller, an absolute legend in the industry. Maybe you've seen some of the movies that have been adapted from his work, like 300 or Sin City, or you're a comic collector like me, because when I got into comic books, one of the first things I read were things like The Dark Knight Returns, Batman Year One. Frank Miller is an absolute legend and icon. His run on Daredevil, I mean, literally like in a box. Some of them are being graded. I have just tons and tons of his work. And he was headlining this convention that was coming up in November. And there are other comic book creators, but this lady that you see, this is from their site, Zainab Akhtar. She instigated a Twitter boycott, basically saying he is an Islamophobe. Now, what she's referencing is a 2011 graphic novel that he wrote called Holy Terror, and we'll talk about that. So let me get to the story real quick. So this is ShortBox Twitter account. Now, ShortBox is her comic book publishing outlet, and as far as I can tell, she's the only one. I don't think there's any other folks publishing with her, but I could be mistaken. And it says, "I'm sorry to inform you that ShortBox and I will no longer be attending Thought Bubble Festival this November." So Thought Bubble is the name of the festival. "I was invited as a guest in 2020, which rolled over to this year. I've been excited to attend, represent my authors, and share our books with readers after almost 2 years of no convention. However, as a proud Muslim woman, I cannot in good conscience attend a festival that deems it appropriate to invite and platform Frank Miller, a person who is responsible for the propagation of abhorrent anti-Muslim hate, particularly via his work. Anti-Muslim bigotry is repugnant and condemnable, yet has become so deeply rooted, so widely accepted in society that it is not even given a cursory consideration. As evidenced once again by this situation, I cannot comprehend how time and time again festivals and communities within comics espouse values regarding inclusivity, diversity, comics being for everyone, zero tolerance on hate, but all that lip service evaporates when they're asked to enact those same values." I gotta be honest, it was that post that she did on Twitter that got me to write this. That is so disgusting and bigoted. She is playing the victim card so much. It is insane that she thinks that in 2021, there is so much widespread anti-Muslim hate that she isn't safe or feels uncomfortable that someone she doesn't agree with about a picture book, it's a comic book that was written 10 years ago. You're a child. You're a child. I'm really sorry. I don't care how old you are. You are an emotional child. The social justice nonsense of a post like that is you are an emotional, like 10-year-old. You know, "Mommy, I don't like the kid that's being allowed to play on the playground with me. I don't feel safe here. Somebody needs to make them go away." It's insane. Frank Miller is a legend. The people that are going to show up at this show and possibly buy your comic books, I have no frame of reference of if they're good or not. They're not for me, but that's okay. Thousands of people possibly were coming because of Frank Miller, and you had to get kicked out of the club. Now, I want to make sure I'm clear with Frank Miller. I'm praising his work, but the man has been honest and transparent about his demons, right? He struggled with alcoholism, obviously some drug use. He looks like he has aged exponentially over the last couple of decades. And in 2018, he came out, and I quoted this in the Guardian article, because I think it was Neil Adams who basically did an intervention, try to save this man's life. talked about this book and said, look, this is post 9/11. I was in New York City for this large part of my life. We were attacked by Muslims. Sorry, that's the fact, Miss Akhtar. That's who it was. And the comic book and the graphic novel, I've read it online. I don't have a physical copy. It's not very good. The art's not my thing. Frank's art is at times very, very strange. And this was an era where it was not good. And it's not a well-regarded thing. And it can be perceived as anti-Muslim in some ways, but it kind of reflects the time. I mean, DC Comics wouldn't touch it, which it makes sense. Obviously, it is definitely heavy-handed. It's obviously a knockoff Batman and Catwoman because that's how it was written for the DC universe, but it's just a knockoff version of that. I think he published it through Dark Horse. So that is the tweet. That's how I started this morning, was that this had happened, this back and forth to get him canceled, to get him kicked out of the convention. And then they continue. So this was her clarification. She says, for clarity, I first contacted Thought Bubble about this privately 8 weeks ago. And after discussions, I was assured action would be taken. This week, it's been communicated to me that I am the acceptable loss. This week, it's been communicated to me that I am the acceptable loss. Repercussions to my career / income over repercussions to theirs. Okay, it barely makes sense to me either. But long story short, she doesn't feel like she matters, basically. So, ShortBox is a line of comics that have spanned a litany of genres from horror, romance, sci-fi, fantasy, fable, slice of life, humor, instructional, autobiographical, and beyond. From all around the world, we've been nominated for multiple awards and even won some. You know who has won some? You know who's won some? I will 100% guarantee you have even won some. Frank Miller has more credentials. He will be read decades from now, possibly centuries from now, depending on the future of how comic books are digitized and stored long term, because the stuff he has written is just as amazing today as it was when it was written. So just the scope and perspective you have, the lack of respect for people that paved the way for you to even do what you do. You were just, I'm just becoming so increasingly not interested in giving these people some sort of backhanded credibility or victimhood that they're asking for. Anyway, let me go on. This is the kind of nonsense that people followed up with. Mike Wallace, he's also a writer of some kind, because it's easy. No, sorry, wrong line. I'd say it's safe to say, because I copied this directly from him, so he meant safe to say how far he's fallen, but the clues were littered throughout his work. Frank is not a nice person. And then it talks about, Mike Wallace also commented someone else about what Miller did. Besides having hard right-leaning perspective, because God forbid they don't align with you politically, his comic books have been more openly misogynistic and fascistic as time has gone on. Maybe if you read them, you'd understand that he's trying to say, don't behave this way. When the villain is misogynistic, when the villain is fascistic, even the stories of the darker Batman and some of the stuff that he's done, the whole point is to contrast that with where Batman is when he's in the light, when he's doing right, how far a man can fall, and how can he climb himself out of that. The journey is so beyond the scope of what these people are capable of understanding sometimes. And obviously it goes on talking about holy terror, and it's just ridiculous. So this was another person on Twitter. It says, inviting FM made that safe unsafe for you and many other people, period. You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. You should never be allowed to go to San Diego Comic-Con and MegaCons, Denver, Chicago, New York. You should never be allowed to be on any of these things, because no one should try to placate to this nonsense that you're unsafe because someone wrote a comic book that you're offended by 10 years ago. Particularly a person that made the industry viable enough for you to have, because let me ask you this. If you wrote Daredevil when he took over, do you think it would have survived? Because I'm not sure it would have. Sorry, I'm digressing. Okay, there's again the image that was posted. Bleeding Cool made this worse. Bleeding Cool is just become an abomination. I saw their alert, and this is kind of how I ended up down the rabbit's hole where it quotes Holy Terror a little bit. Fuel in the fire, basically, listing just countless of people making their ridiculous remarks. I have here the quote where Miller talks about what he was going through after 9/11, talking about represents what I was going through. Whenever I look at my work, I can feel what my mindset was, and I remember who I was with at that time when I was looking at Holy Terror, which I realize I don't do that all that often. I can really feel the anger ripple out of the pages. There are places where it is bloodthirsty beyond belief. I don't want to go back and start erasing books I did. I don't want to wipe out chapters of my own biography, but I'm not capable of that book again. The point is, like many people in 9/11, and I will say, myself included, there is an ignorance with the fallout of 9/11 of us not understanding the religious and cultural situations around the world of that time. But you have to understand, it's not as though we had a bunch of whites trying to crash planes. There's not a bunch of transgender uh, uh, social media elites engaged in a terrorist attack here. Okay, it was a certain faction of people that did this, and that's what he was writing about. That's what he was, using as a cathartic experiment to deal with. And he says that he's moved on. It's like 7 years into the process. I've already moved on, and that was 3 years ago. All right, let me see what else I want to get to here is Thought Bubble, the convention. This is their statement. Over the last 14 years, Thought Bubble has grown into an amazing community of comic creators and fans who we love, trust, and respect. We have let you down. Oh, gosh, them bending the knee. Don't ever bend the knee. Don't give in to these people. They're a bunch of children. Okay? If the people come to you with a respectable argument, they have some proof of something that Frank Miller did to a Muslim or Islamic person, then fine. But the amount of hate and vitriol that certain media or creatives, artistics, Hollywood elites, and even comic book creators can do, like stuff that can be in their comic books, be in their movies and their art, that is so full of anger and vitriol to people that are not like them, but they get away with doing that. But the other side writes this, something that they have kind of said, listen, I've kind of denounced, that's where I was in my life. We're not on an even playing field. I'm not willing to concede to someone who doesn't want to play by a similar standard that I am. Absolutely insane. I made mistakes, but I'm going to own my mistakes. All right. And they got to keep going. About maintaining Thought Bubble as a safe space for all. We have fallen short. Oh, geez. Wish I could do good voices. Maybe I should experiment with voices of what they would sound like if I read these in a certain caricature. I don't know. I don't even want to bother. So, because we exist to share the art form and its worlds with people. If any individual, group, or community feels uncomfortable or excluded from our show, then we have failed. You're right. You have failed, because I feel uncomfortable and I feel excluded because I would want to see Frank Miller. If I was in your community, I would call and write my letter and go, listen, now I feel excluded. If you don't want to have her near Frank Miller, how about we put them at different ends and just, put a barrier up or something. And we know that many of you are disappointed in us. I can't read it on. I'm just, whatever. They're deeply sorry. Blah, 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 blah. Bend the knee, bend the knee. Good luck, Thought Bubble. They own you now. Good luck. I'm shocked that they're going to tolerate Scott Snyder. Isn't he on the hit list? Anyway, let me show you what happened when I was doing some prep. I went over and found out that somebody doesn't want me to see what she's been tweeting. Nope, I've been blocked. But you know what's funny? Internet doesn't really work like that. So let me, I don't know if I can share that screen. Let me see if I can pull it up here. It is, the drama just keeps going because the children. Yeah. Let me share her page. Let me see how well you can see this or not. Let me see if I can make that bigger. I don't know. We can see you, ShortBox. We can see you. This is what they tweeted 13 hours ago. So this is so it's 5 o'clock my time. So 8 hours. So it would have been this morning. Okay, so waking up to right-wing videos being made about me and a wave of racists in my mentions. Now let me point out, I didn't know so many videos were already popping up on YouTube. So yeah, there are some of those. But the wave of racists in my mentions, I guess that's me since I've been blocked. Oh no, because I don't care about your religion, ShortBox. I don't. But irrespective of what happens going forward, I won't be attending TB this year. Oh, the shock. She got the apology. She got the bend the knee. She got what she wanted so that evil Frank Miller won't be there. But she's already so emotionally traumatized. She's not going to go. Oh, no. She has to stay home. Go to her Patreon and buy her books. Oh. In refusing to address us, knowing it would mean that I would do that work. You've got to be kidding me. I am so sick of that phrase, do the work. You're just a child. I don't owe you any work. And these people don't owe you any work. The work could have been, you don't feel unsafe. All right, we're going to put you down there. We're going to put him down there. Oh, you don't like that? Well, I guess you can bow out. We'll give you a refund if you've put money in for a table or whatever. No, don't give in to these people. Oh, think bubble. It's a mistake you can't take back. I tweeted it. I tweeted at all these people, and I still stand by. Scott Snyder, who are you going to stand with? Who else is on this list? Let's see if I can pull that up real quick. Let me see if I can pull up the Think Bubble convention and find out who else is there. Let's see what we can find, folks. I got a feeling that it's probably not up to date. There's got to be a guest list. Got to be a guest list. Where are you? Where are you, guest list? It's switching me to a different tab. So let me cancel. Let me cancel this part. Let me see if I can get the guest list to come out. Yes, there it is. Let's call. Let's see who they want to side with. Who wants to still see who goes? Oh, they removed her, so she's not here anymore. So they did remove her. Let's open this up. Share the screen. Guess. The guess. I'm not going to be a great person to know most of these folks since I haven't been reading recently. Let's see who I recognize. I would think that would be a big deal for me. I got nobody so far. Oh, Gail Simone. Oh, she should have sat next to Gail Simone. They would have had girl time because Gail loves social justice. Gail's if she would spend more time writing her comic books than she would be on Twitter, she'd be so much better. Scott Snyder, I'm calling you out, man. Are you gonna go? You gonna be sucked into all this madness, or are you gonna stand up and say no? Frank's not gonna be there. I'm not gonna be there. That's what you should do. Oh, James Tinian, same thing, man. Just say no. Just say no. Tell these people no, we're not doing it. Oh my gosh, Mag. I don't even want to talk about that guy, that person right now. I'm not dealing with that nonsense. Anyway, there's other folks. I don't know. So anyway, that's the general gist of it. Social justice nonsense. It's so real. It's so disheartening and frustrating that people surrender, apologize, and then these people, they double down on their victim card, man. They get a double. You know how the old times cards used to be where you would slide your little card in the machine and you go chunk chunk. They play the victim card and they keep doubling down on it. I'm a victim. Chunk, chunk. Again, I can't go. I'm doing the work. And it's like it's just so ridiculous that we're paying attention to this juvenile. That's how she is. Miller is a man, a beast in the industry. All right, that's all I'm going to have for now. And I appreciate your time. Like, share, push buttons and bells. You know the stuff on social media and such. Hey, listen, you're blocked on Twitter already. That's great. That's awesome.